Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
It's good to have you here. I'm Whitney Ward. Tonight, new details about a plan to transport nuclear waste through the heart of downtown Spokane.
KREM 2 was just learning about the plans late yesterday, and we now know that toxic waste would come from cleanup from the Hanford sites in the Tri-Cities, travel through Spokane, and then be taken to one of two locations in Andrews, Texas and Clive, Utah. But Spokane city leaders are already speaking out against the idea.
KREM 2's Christian Garza has been digging into why two other communities have already rejected the plan and what the city of Spokane is saying tonight.
The proposed idea of sending this waste has been in the works for years, according to the U.S. Department of Energy. Officials say this is actually a demonstration project called the Test Bed Initiative, which includes moving pre-treated waste in liquid form from Hanford to approved disposal facilities in both Texas and Utah. Hanford site spokesman for the U.S. Department of Energy, Ed Dawson, says that this exact process happened back in 2017, actually. However, the amount that was shipped was 3 gallons versus the now 2,000 they want to move. He says the plan is to treat the waste by the end of the year and move it sometime next year using trucks.
We want to attack our mission of cleaning up the legacy waste at Hanford in as safe, compliant way as possible.
He says that the U.S. Department of Energy is working with the U.S. Department of Transportation to safely take the low-level radioactive waste in government-regulated totes. In a letter to the community, Mayor Brown says that this new route through Spokane is only on the table after partners in the state of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation raised community concerns. Now, coming up tonight, we have more information on what local leaders are saying about the situation and why the Department of Energy is moving forward with the liquid transportation plan to begin with. Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
All right, Christian, thank you very much. We are tracking an update on the saga of the Spokane Valley City Hall. 5 years after it was built, that $14 million building needed critical repairs, including to a wall that was sinking.
The city is now suing the contractor, and this week City Council received an update on the litigation. KREM 2's Amanda Rowley is live in Spokane Valley tonight with details.
Yeah, Mark and Whitney, Spokane Valley City actually spent $4 million on repairs for its new city hall. In fact, the curved exterior wall, which is part of the council chambers, needed the most critical repairs. Now, the city is suing the original construction companies on this project, hoping that they'll cover the cost for these repairs.
The city of Spokane Valley built its $14 million city hall in 2017. But not long after it was built, cracks started to appear in the walls. In the city's lawsuit against the construction companies on the project, it says third-party consultants identified several defects and damage to the building, including cracking and movement on both the interior and exterior faces of the radiused wall, council chamber drywall cracking, and improper connection of steel support angles. The city filed the lawsuit in 2020 against Meridian Construction, Architects West, All West Testing and Engineering, and 831 Consulting. It wants the companies to pay for the cost to repair the building. A city staff report says that cost so far is nearly $4 million. The city budgeted $6.1 million for the repairs and lawsuit. In an update this week, we learned both parties agreed to begin settlement conversations. The mediation will stretch from October 28th to November 1st. The city report expects this litigation to cost the city another $300,000, leaving only $100,000 for what the city budgeted.
Now, court records show that Meridian Construction did try to get this lawsuit dismissed. Now, although the settlement talks will begin this fall, a trial for the lawsuit is set for July next year. Reporting in Spokane Valley, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Amanda, thank you. A construction alert to tell you about now. WashDOT and Spokane County Public Works will be working on several projects that will impact Hatch Road to Hamilton Road in North Spokane. That starts on Saturday. The county says it will begin paving that road on Saturday morning for the Hatch Road project.
And starting Monday, WashDOT says there will be overnight closures of the US 395 and Hatch Road on-ramp. We have a full list of detours on our website. Just head to KREM.com. All right, switching gears to check in on the forecast. The sunshine continues to be the gift that just keeps on giving.
Yes, it does. Let's get to it with our chief meteorologist, Jeremy Legoo, to find out just how long it's going to stick around.
Well, I think it sticks around through the weekend, but It does trend a little bit cooler in the days to come. And by a little bit, I mean at times it's going to be a lot a bit cooler. 75 degrees right now. Not too bad. 75 in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. 73 up in Sandpoint. 80s out in central Washington. It's looking pretty good, even despite a storm moving by. That storm is all the way up in British Columbia. The cold front drapes down across the inland northwest, and that is what's going to drop our temperatures. Tomorrow night through Sunday morning, we have the potential to fall back into the 30s. And by 30s, we're talking low 30s. Think valleys away from city centers. So Deer Park and Newport, even Sandpoint might fall into the mid 30s. Surrounding communities might fall, say, even more, and down into the low 30s or upper 20s. 71 for a high on Friday, 72 Saturday, 72 on Sunday. So it trends a little bit cooler, but not much, and that sunshine sure is going to feel nice.
All right, Jeremy, thank you. Brian Kohberger will appear in court for the first time in Ada County 1 week from today.
Kohberger is accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students back in November of 2022. Judge James Coffin expects Kohberger to appear at that hearing next week in person. It'll be a status conference to determine next steps in the case, like when to reschedule hearings that were in Latah County and to settle on a timeline for the trial.
Coffin says Judge Stephen Hippler, who is now assigned to this case, will determine whether he will allow people to appear virtually for the case at next week's hearing.
That particular hearing is a status conference, and I think it's a chance for Judge Hippler, for the counsel involved, to kind of find direction for moving forward and moving the case towards the trial, and setting out some time for necessary hearings.
Coffin says the entire trial is in Ada County's hands now, and all resources will be Ada County's, with no help from Latah County.
The trial was expected to start in June of 2025 and could last 3 months.
In other news, a Kootenai County Sheriff's deputy was brought to a hospital yesterday after a dog attack. He shot and killed both dogs that were involved. The sheriff's office says a deputy was delivering court paperwork to a home in Post Falls. The deputy says the homeowner opened the door and 2 dogs charged him, with one of them biting his leg.
The sheriff's office says the deputy shot and killed that dog and shot the other one after it, quote, aggressed him. The deputy is expected to be okay. The Post Falls Police Department is conducting an independent investigation.